beast stalker, giant stalker, dragon stalker, crypt stalker, demon stalker, rift stalker, grom stalker, crypt stalker, scourge stalker, wind runner. I'm a pony, lead skill hunter, a death dealer, a life stealer. That's just the cost of being awesome.
Welcome to episode 214 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I am Dark Brew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak WoW on Twitter.
Today is Sunday, March 29th, 2015, and we are broadcasting live on twitch.tv. You can participate in the live chat room where our lovely moderator, Alessandra, is there to take your questions. And yes, this is our new showtime here, 2 o'clock Eastern, and whatever time it may be where you are. This is the one we talked long and hard about what a good showtime would be for everybody. And this is what we settled on. And this is our first official episode of that new time. And there's nobody here. So ArtemisHowl is not going to be joining us. Delirium, I think, is on his way. Fingers crossed that he'll make it. And so it's just you and me, Bendak.
Yeah, I think we picked a great time.
Yeah. So far so good. The chat room's as full as ever. But we're awake, as Ali pointed out there. Yes, we're much more awake now. But that's good. And of course, Solar is on his way to Blizzard. I think he's officially, and he did wish us good luck for the show today. So that was nice of him. But miss him already for sure. So no announcements this week, I don't think. I was going to see if we had any Team Hunter BlizzCon updates, but really it's, November, it's a little ways off. So no updates there other than I think we're all still planning to go and have a good time. So
there's really no news at all this week.
No,
2 weeks.
No, there really hasn't been. And, there was some hints that maybe there'd be some class tuning happening. It was never anything official, announced or talked about, just rumors really. So obviously nothing's come of that, which is good because we were all afraid that, hunters would get hit by the Nerf bat. So I don't.
Yeah. Maybe they're just seeing how things will settle because they were a little, happy-go-lucky there for a while, making changes pretty rapidly without getting, letting things settle. And I don't know. We're doing good, but it's not like, we're far and above everything else.
No, I mean, and again, it's going to vary too, like depending on your guild makeup. And I mean, we have about 5 hunters that run in our raid group. And I have to say there are definitely some encounters where it's just like a sea of green at the first 5 slots in DPS it's just nothing but green, which is fun.
How big is your team?
I want to say we're over between 20 to 25 people.
That's a good proportion of hunters there.
Yeah. And so we have 5 hunters in that group. Most nights too. We all show up.
But mine's got 3.
Yeah. 3's a nice number because, because in addition to hunters, we also have a couple of shaman, only 1 monk, interestingly enough, or 2, I should say. And then, 1 or 2 warriors. So it's a lot of competition for those, the tier pieces, which is pretty much all I need. I mean, how's your progression? You've cleared heroic now at this point, right? I believe.
Yeah. Killed heroic Blackhand. I think it was a few weeks ago now. Now we're working on some mythic bosses. We got 3 of 10 down. We just killed Hans and Franz on Thursday.
Oh, nice. Nice.
That's pretty, that fight, it's the smallest mistake from anyone and it's just over. It's hilarious. Like you're progressing on it and it's just like everything's going well and all of a sudden everyone's dead.
Yeah.
You're not stacked properly. The damage isn't split. If one person, like the Stampers in Mythic, like basically everyone has to stand on the same spot and move as a group.
Okay.
So one person,
wow.
If one person moves too early, they activate the next Stamper and it just sets off this chain reaction. I don't know.
Oh my.
It's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, it was kind of fun. I don't know.
That's just a neat fight in general, I like that. And even in heroic, I mean, the Stampers are pretty deadly. You get hit by one of those and you're pretty much dead at that point. I mean, normal, you can take a blow or two, but. Well,
I actually had a funny moment this week about that. Like, Operator Thogar heroic. Like, I actually got hit by the train and survived somehow. I just figured, well, I guess my
Oh, really?
item levels,
Wow.
my item level must be getting up there if I can survive that hit. Survive
So-
with like 2% health.
Oh, that's funny. And I think Delirium, he's chatting with us now, so I think we're going to get him on in just a second here. But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, with the item level boost is certainly helped, I think, with our guild's progression. It's been nice.
Yeah, I saw a lot of guilds like the week after they started getting past their stuck point, which is usually like Blast Furnace or something like that.
Yeah, and I think in Heroic, that's about where we're at now, where it's Chromog, Blast Furnace, Iron Maidens, and then of course Black Hand. Those are the bosses we have not killed yet, but we've gotten to everybody else.
Yeah, I definitely recommend Chromog first.
Over Maidens and...
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely the easier one.
See, I think so too. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's really a healing... The challenge is really the healers in tanks. Because for the most part, I don't find it that difficult to fight as a DPS.
Chromog? Yeah, it's not that.
You know,
just avoid the stuff and you're fine.
Yeah, and I think that might be part of the problem, that not everybody's avoiding everything like they should, and there's too much burden on the healers to kind of keep everybody alive. But from a DPS standpoint, certainly a ranged DPS, it's a pretty straightforward fight. Not a whole lot to do. So I'll wait for Delirium. Let's sort of jump topics a little bit. One of the things we sort of talked a little bit about pre-show, and this is a little bit off topic as far as hunters go, but we were talking about garrisons and followers, and you had been mentioning the Harrison Jones follower. I don't have him yet. Do you have him now, or?
Oh yeah, I got him a while ago. I kept checking for the daily quest until I got all 6 of them.
Cool.
So you just basically have to go on the group finder every day, join someone's Harrison Jones group, and then hopefully you get one of the ones you don't have. It's totally random though.
Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think the context was because you were jumping in here and you're basically, because of him in part, getting rich off your garrisons because of the whole treasure hunter. And so we thought it would be a fun topic just to touch upon a little bit, even though he's a rogue, I think is his. You
know what? He was originally a hunter in the PTR. He was a hunter, a survival hunter, and then they changed him to a rogue. So I'm like, that they nerfed him. Yeah,
they did nerf him. I'm surprised. He is a hunter, in my opinion. He should be a hunter. So
even when you look at him in your follower interface, he's holding a gun.
Is he? Yeah.
So I don't know why they did that. Oh well. But yeah. Anyway, like he's a treasure hunter himself, but that's not the main reason you want him. It's because he can essentially power level new followers. So every week you go to the inn, you pick your new recruit, you just choose a treasure hunter trait, and when you pair up any follower with him in a mission, that follower inherits his level and his item level.
Oh wow, that's so if you get him up to like a 675 item level, or which is the max, and so you can bring a fresh tune in there, is what you're saying, and he'll and he'll match that level. That's pretty awesome. And if
so, you can take a fresh level 90, and as little as 2 missions, they're level 100.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And so when you combine that with the Mage Tower, which in 6.1 it got a new work order feature, and one of the things it can give you with the work orders is these mission completion orders, and you can use those to instantly complete a mission. So I get a new follower from the end.
Holy crap!
5 minutes later, it's level 100 and doing other missions.
Yeah, so you're just completing, and you're getting, and so you got a whole bunch of treasure hunters, a whole bunch of gold missions, unbelievable. So yeah, I can see how you can just stack all that together. And I mean, I don't know. So what he gets treasure hunter, and I don't know what else. Does he get that by default? I guess.
Yeah, he does. He gets that, and the mentor. That's the one that.
Okay. Can he lose those or no?
You can't lose a mentor, but if you re-rolled him, you could lose treasure hunter.
Yeah, okay. So we definitely wouldn't want to do that. I'm just thinking, boy, and maybe it sounds like it's completely unnecessary too. But if you were to give him something like the Hearthstone Pro trait or something on top of that.
But yeah, so if you combine him and then you also get Garona from the Legendary quest.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's another thing that the reason it's good to have her is because she enables you to get more treasure hunters indirectly. Because she is so powerful that she makes a bunch of your other followers redundant.
Oh, understood. So you can deactivate a whole bunch of them, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So basically, I got Garona, and then I started re-rolling her and then every time I re-rolled, I'd look in my master plan and see how many redundant followers I had, and I just kept re-rolling until I got a bunch. And eventually, I re-rolled her the one time, and all of a sudden, I have like a dozen redundants. So all those redundant followers, once a week, they'll be replaced by the treasure hunter.
Right.
And eventually everyone will be a treasure hunter.
And honestly, because and you reach the point when you think of the only mission that anyone really cares about 100% are the Blackrock Foundry mission every 2 weeks. So as long as you know what your makeup can be, you can make sure you have the right folks activated to at least complete that. I mean, the other stuff just doesn't matter as much to me anyway, I don't think.
Yeah, pretty much. Because once you complete the Legendary quest, you don't need those missions anymore.
Right. You don't need those runes and things of that nature, which is pretty cool. So it's really, and then the high mall cache becomes less valuable too. So it's really just, especially when you're like, I think I'm at the point now where, fingers crossed, my next, Blackrock Foundry should be for a mythic piece of gear, which is good.
Yeah. I'd say I estimate, like, using this, like, probably get about 10,000 gold a week from the missions. Wow. Yeah. And then it'll only go up from there. Especially when you unlock the mythic missions that give you bonus gold. Because if you put 3 treasure hunters on those, that's 4,000 gold from one mission.
Wow. Well, I don't know can't remember what I put up in place. I did take down my inn. I'm going to have to go put that back up.
Oh yeah.
And probably put a mage tower up. I don't know what I would, I guess maybe, I'm not sure what I'll take down. I mean, I either have to do the barracks or the bunker would be the ones to put up a mage tower. So,
I guess it depends. I got rid of the bunker because it was mostly giving me the armor sets, which I didn't need anymore because,
Did you have like a lot of excess? I mean, these new followers that you're getting though, are you trying to gear them up or?
Yeah, but, for those, like, you want more. I already had a bunch of the armor sets, which are only good for those new guys. But beyond that, you just want the actual, like the +3, +6.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the ones you get more from the salvage.
Right. So maybe that's what it'll be. I've kind of burned through most of my armor pieces, and I think all my followers right now, whether they're active or inactive, are at a basic level. I mean, they're all maxed out. It's ridiculous because I've had no other use for those things.
But you can, if you have a lot of resources too, you can just like I know some people that they get the mage tower, they collect 5 of those mission completion orders because you can only hold 5 at a time, and then they just tear it down, and then for the next 5 BRF missions, they can just complete it instantly if they want.
Right. Understood.
Which is that's 10 weeks. So, I mean, I guess it depends if you're swimming in resources or not to be able to swap them like that.
I'm mid-range. I mean, I'm above close to 7,000, I think, garrison resources. So closer to the top end, but not maxed out. But
and if you do get the mage tower, I mean the portals too are really nice because you can put portals outside of High Mall and Blackrock, which is nice to get to raids.
Yes.
But also you get these little things you can move around your garrison that like launch you around, like these little catapult things. I don't know. I think it's like the best feature of the building because I just sit there going back and forth all day. It's funny. But I think if you haven't tried the Mage Tower, I'd give it a whirl. It's pretty fun. It's just convenient.
Yeah, I think I may do that. It'd be nice to try some other buildings like that. The engineering works or the gear works or whatever looks amusing as well. But I think maybe that combination that we were just talking about here seems to be the way to go. So that's cool. So that's very Harrison Jones. Yeah, seems like he's almost as epic a follower than as Corona is in terms of his utility. So, all right. Well, Delirium, welcome. You've been sitting there
everyone.
quiet.
Right. Sorry,
Are you taking notes?
Yeah, I had to figure out I didn't know all this about my followers. Haven't been paying too much attention to the garrison lately, so that's all good to know.
I like the garrison. I like the whole followers and the missions. I don't know, it's just a little mini obsession and try and max them all out.
I had noticed Harrison Jones. Is that his name?
Yeah.
I had noticed him giving quests, but I haven't done it yet, so maybe I'll start looking at him. Give me a good reason to log in.
Yeah, he's awesome. He was awesome before he was a follower, and he was always one of my favorite characters. I loved Oldham, that whole quest line and storyline. That was one of my favorite
Except
zones.
for the refrigerator.
Oh, another funny thing about him is if you're doing an invasion or whatever, you can get him to follow you around to help you. And he drops like snake traps and stuff. He's like, why did it have to be snakes? And he drops snake traps and stuff. It's so funny. And he summons like a big rolling boulder.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's right. I didn't realize you can use followers for your invasions either.
Yeah, as long as they're not on a mission, you can go talk to them and say, "Hey, follow me around.
Huh.
Come on patrol with me." And
learning so much about garrisons today.
Yeah. Well, we can move on. We can talk about hunters. I'm going to actually move one of these topics up because it's a little bit of a simpler one. So one of the things I've been doing, I kind of hopped onto the Warcraft Hunters Union Facebook page and just kind of put out a call, and I'll do this every week, just to get some input from some of the hunters out there to see what they'd like to hear us talk about. One of them, her name was Bethia. Oh, this is from Twitter, actually. She sent us a tweet, was talking about pet management in Rage, which is kind of funny since for the most part of this expansion, it's been, just take Lone Wolf and there's no pets to manage, whatever. And there was a link to an MMOC thread that came up empty. It looks like it was gone, but you had sort of a question about passive versus assist and what do we like to use. So I know you're running a lot of Beast Mastery Bendek. I mean, what do you do for your pets? You just keep them on assist, or do you use passive at all, or how are you sort of managing your pets in this day and age?
I usually just use assist most of the time, and then in like my shots and like kill command and stuff, I have a macro that says like /pet attack, which makes sure that the pet switches targets immediately. So say like you have two targets, target A and target B, your pet's on target A, and you want to kill command target B. If you do that really quickly, the pet will still kill command target A. But if you put that in your macro, then it'll switch targets every time. So I just use that to make sure the pet's going where I want it. And there's other tricks you can do too, like Master's Call, to get the pet to slingshot to you and stuff like that, to get him around quicker. Like it's helpful on like Orgorger, because I find your pet will be running after the boss and stuff, so you can use that to get him back to the ore crates and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a good boss to talk about too. And I don't know how you guys do your setup for that. We kind of start kind of way off to, he's in the back middle and with the room, and we started to position ourselves to the far right, that very far right lane, if you can kind of visualize that. And we start off in the back, and so I usually use like the move to command to position my pet close to where the boss is going to be pulled, because otherwise, from where we stand, I'm too far away, and it takes the pet too long to get there. So I either have to, just send him in, or delay Bestial Wrath and so forth. I like to do that Bestial Wrath kill command macro. So with the move to, I can position the pet where I need him to be, and then as soon as the boss is pulled, I can just start my rotation as if I was, right in front of him. That's something I like to do. But how about you, Delirium? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, I definitely, especially in BM, I always leave my pet on passive and then just use the Bendex head / what is it, pet attack.
Pet attack. Yeah.
Pet attack is on my kill command. So, I have an alt key for my kill command that doesn't do that, so I can switch targets without my pet switching targets. And then I have some out-of-the-way keybinds that are kind of a stretch, but just for move to and passive and stay, and all those guys are around G and H and Y for me. So it's kind of a stretch for at least how I normally play to get over there. But especially in battlegrounds, I never know where my pet is. He's running all over the map. So I just kind of got used to having those keybound so I can easily call him back to me. Even, at that point, Master's Call is pretty useless after is at 30 yards. So that's basically my strategy. I am kind of a weirdo and like to have a keybind for even things I don't use. I don't know if that's normal these days or not, but it takes me forever to find a little button and click it, even if I'm only going to use it, once every week or so. So, yeah, I like to micromanage it and tell it exactly where to stand and where to be.
Yeah, I do to some degree. I like the idea of having this sort of like the alt command for the kill command, so you can either have it attack the target that you want, that you're attacking, or you can keep them on a specific target, and while you're maybe hitting something else for whatever reason. I know in which fight is it? It's the Thogar fight. There's one set of cannons that come in, and we start DPSing on that cannon, but then there's a train that basically comes in almost immediately, and you kind of have to get out of range. So at least I end up usually finding myself out of range to DPS it down, whereas I can keep the pet on there, attacking it until the train clears, and then go back and kill that particular gun.
Yeah, definitely. That's the exact situation I was thinking of too, at least from this tier.
Yeah, that's one of the few I can think of. It's because usually I want my pet on the same target as me, because
yes,
it's like more than half of my damage, so he should be there.
Yeah, I especially the reason I leave it on passive all the time is because I want to, maybe I'll switch for barrage. I'm not going to barrage at a cannon. I'm going to barrage at the big group and then switch back, and I don't want my pet to be wasting time running back and forth, which it does constantly if you have it on assist, I feel.
I'll be honest, I don't really switch to the cannons. I'll let the other range DPS deal with that.
Is that right?
Good
awesome.
plan.
They do go down
on
pretty
Mythic.
quick.
On Mythic, I would, but Heroic, I'll just let them deal with it.
Yeah, even on Heroic, they tend to go down. I find that we see them go down pretty quickly.
Scumbag DPS.
Yeah. Just sit there and barrage and beast cleave. On the big packs of AoE. I like that fight. I actually like that fight a lot. I like this whole raid for the most part. I thought they did a good job. It's one of the more enjoyable set of bosses that I think I've seen in a while.
Yeah, there's no fights I really hate. The only one I find is annoying sometimes is Flamebender, and that's only because there's all these range issues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay 7 yards apart and keep going out of range, and it's just like, it's like my only fight where I get like, I just wish it was over. The other fights I like quite a bit.
Yeah, Flamebender. Yeah, there are some annoying, especially in the beginning. Sometimes the one ad that's there, he can just jump around all over that room sometimes, and also, so
I never put my pet on that either. I just beast cleave onto him.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like you said, he jumps everywhere.
Yeah. But he goes down quick too.
Yeah.
And then Blast Furnace. Although once you get the hang of that one, I mean, we haven't done it in Heroic yet. We've done it in Normal finally, and I think once you get the hang of that one, that's not so bad. There's a lot going on there, but it certainly can be controlled, I would say. But even that's probably my least favorite fight so far, but I wouldn't say that I hate it. It's actually kind of a clever fight.
Yeah, that fight's a lot of just holding onto your cooldowns and stuff like that. Your stacks of Focus Fire and Bestial Wrath, just to get those, like the
The guy,
Elementalist.
yeah, the Elementalist down. Yeah, exactly. That's where you need all that burst.
BM is really good for that. Like almost every time I've done that fight, I've been number 1 damage on the Elementalist just because I can save all those cooldowns and stuff. Also save a potion for one of them. I usually use the potion on, well, unless it's assigned, I'll use the potion on the one where my cooldowns don't line up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you have something on everything,
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's actually a smart idea. Glacier Wolf is asking about Thogar. If we want to hop back to him real quick. And he was saying if you had to choose a spec for the fight, what would it be?
Survival.
You like survival? How about you, Bendek?
Well, I'm playing just BM right now, but survival is really good on that fight.
Yeah.
I just like survival on every fight. So that's what.
But is there anything specific about Thogar that you like?
Yeah,
survival
definitely.
versus something else?
Depending on how many ranged you have, how many good multi-target classes you have. Beast Cleave doesn't reach nearly as many as you can get your dots going on all the hands. Wait, am I thinking of the right boss, Thogar?
Thogar's the
hands,
train.
right?
The
train.
Thogar's the train.
Operator
boss.
Thogar. Oh,
Operator
yeah,
Thogar.
I don't care. That one's kind of a joke. I still say survival.
Right.
This is more fun to play than the other specs. But.
Yeah, I like BM for that. I mean, in the Beast Cleave damage, if the tanks are good about, and they're pretty good about collecting up the adds and keeping them pretty clumped up together. That I kind of like that.
Misdirect barrage.
Yeah.
When they spawn. There's no chance that the tanks won't have the adds.
No. And I like barrage. I like having fights with a lot of targets like that. You can just barrage down. And that's, like I said, so yeah, BM, I don't know how well marksmanship would fare.
Yeah, Marks is rough for that one.
I think that would be a tough fight for that. I mean, sure, it's good for if you're going to DPS the boss, if you're going to DPS the cannons, or when you're focusing on the man-at-arms and what is it, the fire menders?
Fire or something.
Yeah, the flame menders.
Yeah, your cleave isn't going to be as good, but if your raid is composed of classes that are cleaving anyway, like doing marksmanship isn't bad. Like your effective DPS on the important targets is going to be as good or better than everyone else.
Exactly. I mean, you're going to be, you may not have the big AoE numbers, but you're certainly going to be contributing to your raid's success, I would think.
Yeah, I'd definitely be cautious about BM, as Bindek already demonstrated, not wanting to switch to the cannons and stuff like that. At least while you're on progression. During farm, who cares? Do whatever you want. But if it's a boss you're having trouble getting down, I'd be worried about pet uptime.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm talking farm for sure. Like if you're struggling to kill Thogar, don't ignore the cannons.
Okay, so I haven't asked anybody about this. I'm just curious what you guys do. At the point where you have 2 trains come out with cannons, do you guys bother killing them both? Or do you just kill one and wait for the other one to go away while you focus the man-at-arms or whoever's up at that point?
The ranged focus on the cannons first, usually.
Yeah, so we just started skipping the second cannon and just saying, whoever has it, go stand on the edge and let the bombs fall. And it surprisingly works pretty well. I mean, you have one person out of commission for a few seconds, especially if that's a melee. That's pretty rough on their DPS. But we gain so much more DPS on the boss by not having anybody focus the cannon that it's working pretty sweet. I was really surprised when somebody suggested that, but I'm kind of happy with the results.
No, we haven't tried that. And maybe I'll bring that up this week as something to suggest that maybe we just take down one of the cannons and not worry about the other one.
It does put more responsibility on whoever has the cannon. They've got to get out of there and remember to keep moving out of the raid.
And that's my concern, is that person won't remember or won't realize it, and then there'll just be this huge, cache of bombs everywhere.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't be worthwhile. But yeah, certainly worth bringing up and trying.
Another thing you can do to help with your pet's target switching is take your dash off of autocast and use it manually when it has to, for example, run over to a cannon. Because if it's on autocast, he'll just randomly, the boss runs ahead of it and he's like, oh, I better dash to get up there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wastes it,
Because that's something I'm sure most people probably just, I know I'll admit to that too, that I just sort of keep it on auto cast and don't really pay much attention to it. Obviously, I know it, and probably the one time where I know it works well is at the very beginning of the pull, where I know it's going off and the pet will zoom right in there, but that's a good idea. And there's certainly lots of fights like in the instance, where you might want to do that. Like Beast Lord, for example, is probably one where, if someone gets trapped in a spear, for example, you might want to get your pet on there as quickly as possible and help break them out.
Yeah, that's definitely a moment where I don't even move my pet, and I'll just put a dot up on the spear. If they die, they shouldn't have been standing in there anyways.
Yeah.
I think there's like an unspoken thing in a lot of groups where it's like someone gets stuck in there. It's like you'll get them out, but you're not going to be in any hurry. It's like that's your punishment for standing there. I'm
told somebody's told me that for the melee there can be so many because of all the pets on the ground, or the Beast Lord's packs. What are they called? Yeah, call pack. Those animals are cover up a lot of the whites, so it's really hard if one gets thrown in the melee area. So, but then it's so easy to cleave them down anyway, so you don't care about it. Maybe, other than melee, if you get hit by it, yeah, I'll take care of it later.
I mean, that's one of those things where, I mean, if you get hit by that, you're just not paying attention to your timers, obviously, because that one's, or
you're stuck in a corner. Like that happened to me this week. Actually, we're doing Mythic Beast Lord, and like slowly the room fills up with these bad areas you can't stand in, and so I'm like crammed up at the last corner of the room. And I just didn't see it, and it was like, no, there we go. Mm-hmm. And the Beast Lord, but he was at like 3%, so it was a big deal. But yeah, it happens.
Yeah, Beast Lord isn't a good fight to check Twitter in your other monitor.
No, it's
do that during a different fight.
But sticking with him, then, I mean, so are you doing like the Roger Brown now, Delirium, and just running survival for everything, or do you switch to different ones?
I mean, I have survival and BM at the moment because I've been playing pretty much all BM for PvP. Because right now it's very overpowered. Mm-hmm. And since I'm not that good at PvP, I'll take what I can get. So yeah, I would switch to Marks if we come across a fight where we really need some single target DPS or burst. But yeah, right now we haven't really had an issue with, or DPS hasn't been what's holding us back. Doing mechanics well is what's holding us back. So yeah. I haven't really felt the need to push as much as I can for every single boss.
Yeah, I haven't gone with much at survival at all this go around, and part of the issue now is everything is like my stats and gear are really tailored towards beast mastery, so I probably wouldn't be as effective as survival or something else. So because I mostly got haste and mastery everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. I'm kind of the opposite. I have pretty much multi-strike on every piece that I have. So survival just comes out real well.
I still got a decent amount of multi-strike, so, there's always that off chance I have to switch, which hopefully I won't, but I don't think it'd be too bad. Because at least a lot of the tier pieces have multi-strike, and...
Yeah, that's true.
The gun has it, trinket, That those, the BOE boots have it. So that's easy to get.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you caught to this before I got here, but it might be a good time to transition into another question we had on here about the sets. Did you guys cover that yet?
Oh, no, we haven't talked about set bonuses at all.
I just saw it. Now I can't find it on the notes.
It's there. It's a little further down. But the question we got, this was from the WHE Facebook page, someone named Thomas, and he was interested in hearing a discussion about the 2 4-piece tier set bonuses as they relate to the DPS with the different specs. And in his own experience, he was saying he found SV to be a little bit better with the 2-piece, but that BM with the 4-piece, and so he wanted to kind of hear us talk a little bit about that, which I think would be fine. So the two piece, I mean, does it benefit one spec over the other, do you think, or is it pretty even across the board? And I probably should remind everybody what those two piece does. Which, since I played so much Beastmaster, I actually don't remember off the top of my head. What do you guys remember?
So for Beast Mastery, of course, Kill Command has a chance to reset the cooldown of Bestial Wrath, which is on an RPPM kind of basis.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody knows exactly what it is. My guess is it's around 0.92 in the beta, but I don't know. I haven't really looked at it that much in live. Marksmanship, aim shot critical strikes restore 8 additional focus. So that brings that to what, 38?
28.
28, there we go. And for survival, the 2-piece set bonus is when you cast a black arrow, you automatically trigger lock
that's
and
right.
load.
Which is
so
nice.
You
That's very
reset the
nice.
cooldown and get 2 free ones, and your third for 15 focus.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really like the survival one and the BM one. They're both lots of fun. BM, of course, has a lot more RNG to it, but when you get a good, one Bestial Wrath every 30 seconds or so, it feels amazing. It's just so much fun to have your big red pet for so long.
Yeah, Bestial Wrath, especially on some of these fights when I get into the the execute range. I mean, that's when I really start focusing on Kill Command and just praying that I'll get an extra Bestial Wrath in there at the end. That's when I really, really, really hope for it, and it's fun when it does pop up like that.
Yeah, so survival's kind of the opposite. Who is traditionally the very RNG based spec, but now you have a lot more control over it. So I feel like BM and survival switched places in the RNG world.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think on their own, if you just have access to the 2-piece, I think the survival one's probably better overall. Like you said, it's more reliable, and it's just the BM one is fun, but the BM one's its true power is unleashed when you combine it with the 4-piece, because every time you get that extra Bestial Wrath, it's that extra pet attacking. So
yeah, and
that's just great.
What are the numbers? Do we know what the numbers are like for that extra pet, or and it's not just some random pet too. It actually does pull something from the stable, correct? I mean,
it pulls your pet number 1. And if you're using pet number 1, it pulls pet number 2.
Okay.
And it's you can look at it as like a stampede pet, like it just does auto attacks, but the auto attacks hit like twice as hard as normal. So when I look at my damage breakdown, it's like that extra Bestial Wrath pet is usually like second or third place for like overall damage in terms of abilities. It's a lot of damage.
It is, and when you remember, and it's every Bestial Wrath. So if you've got Kill Command resetting it and get lucky on those, then you're just going to get more of that extra pet fighting alongside you in a given fight. So I mean, they did a nice job with the Beast Mastery 2 and 4 set bonuses, and because I like synergy. I like when you have abilities and things that play off one another, and I really liked what they did with the Beast Mastery. The fact that you got Kill Command.
I totally agree. I think Beast Masteries work together the best and provide overall the most DPS. Marksmanships kind of have some synergy. The Marksmanship 4 set is you get 3% increased critical strike damage when you're in rapid fire, and it increases by another 3% every second, I think, or is it every?
That's right.
Okay, yeah, every second. So by the end of that, your crits are doing 145% more damage than they normally would. And I think most people who play Marksmanship are crit capped during rapid fire, which is about 53% crit base, which isn't too hard to come up with. So yeah, I mean, it works well. So you have the extra focus from crits on your 2-piece and your extra crit damage, but it doesn't feel like that much. It doesn't feel like this crazy powerful ability. You get to see some really high numbers during rapid fire, but other than that, it's kind of a dull. It doesn't change really how you're playing a lot, your play order. The 8 focus doesn't, mean you're using a lot less focusing shots or cobra or steady shots. So yeah, I don't. It's a good idea, but I don't think it's as exciting as having another pet or extra bestial wraths.
Yeah, no, it's not. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, all you have to worry about is making sure you get 2 chimera shots within that window so they can benefit. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, it's just business as usual.
Yeah, and you're still at the most going to be suffering from about a 50% RNG chance that the gem shot will crit and benefit from the from that extra crit damage at all.
Yeah, but if that final one does, and it's like a couple seconds
it's crazy.
left, it's like the stat squish may as well not even happen because it's going to hit for so hard.
Yeah. And then survival's 4-piece is just extra multi-strike damage, correct? It just beefs it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blizzard was like, you know what? Multi-strike isn't overpowered enough for survival. Let's just make it more overpowered. Let's make the other stats even worse than they are now.
But really, I mean, the multi-strike damage doesn't do much damage. I mean, the multi-strike is important in the getting a higher multi-strike percentage, not the multi-strike damage, because the damage actually comes from serpent sting ticks. So it's kind of meh. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, we were already stacking that stat, so make it do some more damage. But
yeah, because when you combine it with the perk or the passive, it's like, and your multi-strikes are like 30% extra damage. So
yeah,
what does that, how does it work out? They're doing 42% instead of 30%? Or how does that work out? Something like that. Anyway, it just makes multi-strike better. And, every time you use explosive shot, it adds another 3 seconds to the count. So you get really lucky with lock and load. I mean, yeah. I've seen that buff go as high as 30 seconds.
Oh, wow.
I mean, basically, unless you're messing up your rotation, you'll have over 99% uptime on it. There's no reason not to. And especially with the 2-piece getting more lock and loads.
There's not a whole lot of reason to change up your rotation, I guess, either.
Right.
You're still gonna, either way, you're gonna use your lock and loads anyway, which would keep up that buff during AoE and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of at the very top end of Survival Hunters, which I think most people who were paying this much attention have switched to Beast Mastery now. But it was where when you were getting close to multi-strike capped, while you have your trinkets procced and your gun procced, you would switch in Arcane Shot, especially with Thrill of the Hunt, would become more important than Explosive Shot. It would do more damage when you were multi-strike capped. So I don't think that is the case anymore, though, because
I thought that was only for not lock and load procs, like just regular explosive.
Yeah, so the free one, there was a little bit of trouble with how SimC was simulating it, and so the free ones, of course, don't cost any focus and make it really look like it's a very valuable shot. But you still could do basically all of your Thrill of the Hunt arcane shots without using up much of any focus. Like, you were never going to need to stop and regen focus. So I think most people were using up all of their Thrill of Hunts even before they would switch to the free lock and load explosive shots. I mean, actually, I'd have to go back and look at some of the top parsers for that again. But now I don't think that's ever the case. I think you're always wanting to use your lock and loads immediately. So it's just like lock and load was in MOP, I guess. You don't have to care as much about what your multi-strike procs are.
Yeah.
And so for the most part, I think that I was trying to think. I apologize. I've lost my train of thought. But with the 2-piece, I mean, the specs are all pretty even right now for the most part. I mean, regardless of the 2 and 4, although it seems like the Beast BM really gets a nice buff from the 4-piece. But
yeah,
I don't know that acquiring the 4-piece set bonus really needs to dictate whether or not you should, say, switch to Beast Mastery, for example, or feel like you need to change the specs. They're not at that point. I mean, do you agree or disagree, or?
Yeah, I mean, if your raid is really struggling with AoE DPS, I think switching to BM, especially once you have the 4-piece, you know, if you can't get down a boss, but you're getting them to 3% every time, it might be time to switch to BM, if you have the 4-piece set bonus. But yeah, I mean, it would be a very particular time where I feel like, you know, it is mandatory that you play this spec over this spec or vice versa. I don't know, but have you guys in Mythic run into any issues where like you felt like somebody really needed to switch to a different spec yet?
Not really. Usually it boils down to mechanics, I think. Like there is DPS checks, but I mean survival, like yeah, Beast Mastery on like a pure single target, it can do more in most cases, but survival is, I just want to say it's more like reliable, like, I don't know. It seems like it's not easier to play. It's just more, you get more consistent damage out of it, I find.
Yeah, I do feel, I mean, maybe because I play it mostly, but I feel like it's a lot easier for me to play survival. Yeah, I don't know if that's just me or if that's everybody's experiencing that. So if mechanics are difficult, I'm definitely going to play survival. Even though I can get a little bit more, you know, a percent or two more DPS out of Beast Mastery.
Yeah, and that percent or two more, it's like you said, you have to play it the spec really well to get that. You're not, or else it's like that extra benefit may as well not even be there,
right? Unless
you're like Beast Mastery focus can be difficult to manage at times. Like it's easy to get focus starved.
As Beast Mastery? Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're used to playing survival with focusing shot and you haven't had to worry about focus for almost a whole tier.
I've seen so many hunters like in 6.1, they see the BM numbers and they're like, yeah, I'm going to switch to BM, and then they play it for a few pulls and they're like, yeah, I'm going back to survival. I can't do this. Because it's just such like a drastic change.
It's a very big change, yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I said, you almost have to play with like weak auras or something, or have something to help you manage the focus fire, if nothing else. Because I mean, there's a lot of complexity in that ability now that didn't necessarily exist prior to 6.1, but because of what it can do now.
Yeah.
You know.
It's that plus just knowing when to pool focus. And stuff like that. Like a lot of times for BM, people would be like, well, I'm at like 50 or 60 focus, kill commands 2 or 3 seconds away. I'll just cast an arcane shot. It's like, no, that was the wrong move. Because now our kill command's going to come up and you won't have the focus for it. So it's some people have trouble restraining themselves from spamming out abilities when they can. BM, it's a lot of hovering in the high focus area, so you can use kill command and barrage on cooldown.
Yep. Yeah, and in making sure you have enough focus too. Even though Bestial Wrath will cut your focus costs in halves, you still need to have, you know, a bunch of focus pooled up for when that comes available. And I've made that mistake before, and that's like the worst feeling in the world. You're just like, you know, Bestial Wrath.
Cobra-shotting your Bestial Wrath. It's like,
yeah,
I have failed as a hunter.
You know, you got to put Cobra shots in there to regenerate focus, and it's like, because you don't have the focus you're really, you know, to fire anything else. So, we did have a question from some of the folks here asking about the LFR 2 and 4-piece set bonuses, and to be honest with you, I haven't run LFR much at all. I haven't done the Blackrock Foundry LFR, not even to try and get legendary quest drops or anything like that. But I had almost forgotten that they had indeed given the armor there set bonuses.
Yeah, I was under the impression it wasn't much. Like the 2-piece is like you get 100 more agility, maybe, or something like that.
Exactly, that's exactly what it was. Okay. Agility increased by 100, which just seems like
it's like an extra of the lower level food.
Yeah,
so it's like being a panda.
Since they increased the eye level for those items, the LFR set items are 5 levels above everything else in LFR. So those are 670 now, I think.
Oh, interesting. Really? 670?
No, they can't be 670.
No, they're 660, sorry.
660.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that 100 agility, I mean, it looks kind of meh, but when you like, that's a lot of agility. Like, it's something you have to consider if you're switching a piece. Like, to break that set bonus, the piece you're breaking it with would have to have a lot of agility to warrant that, you know?
Oh, you're talking about if somebody is LFR geared and they're going into regular rating, normal, or heroic mode? Yeah, that makes sense.
And the 4-piece, I haven't looked at how much actual DPS it gives you, but it looks like it's just like a static, I don't even know.
Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
Yeah,
it's like, it's a chance when you use like, I think it's like a focus costing ability. It procs like extra physical damage.
Yeah, so when your special attacks have a 10% chance to impale the target with metal spikes, dealing physical damage. This is how it reads for. That's the.
Does it show if it scales with attack power or anything, or is it just?
That's just the Wowhead tooltip. So I'm not really sure if it does or not.
I imagine it does scale, but it'd be interesting to see like what that's worth in DPS terms,
But you can get those off pieces too, right? It's not the same 5 as normal set bonuses, right?
It's true. I think there's like 7 or 8 pieces of that Ashlink set. So there's a lot of opportunities to keep it, I guess, if you're moving from LFR to normal. Because I mean, yeah, they're not as like great as the tier set bonuses, but something, right?
Yeah.
Like that gear is like it's perfectly like adequate for going into normal modes, like.
Yeah, totally.
Enough.
But like I said, if you're doing, I understand if you're doing heroic mode and things, or it's not necessarily worth going out of your way to have it going into those modes. I would say it's not like before, like in Mists of Pandaria, when you could get actual tier gear. I mean, that seemed like it was definitely worth running LFR just to try and get those tier pieces and get those tier bonuses. Where I don't know that this, it just depends on your group you're running and the content that you do.
Mm-hmm. There's a good discussion this week on the forums about not LFR but world bosses and how in Warlords they kind of feel like lackluster compared to what they were in Mists. Did you guys read that at all?
I haven't read that. I certainly agree with that, though. I hardly ever run them, and part of the reason why I don't run them is because you really have to use the group finder, probably to find a group. I mean, before you could just kind of show up at a spot,
right?
And
people would do it.
Find a group, or the way they had done it with the tagging and everything was really nice. And you could just and plus and a big part of that too, I think, was the gear. I mean, you got PvP gear, which was nice, and of course you got the chance for the gloves and the legs of the tier gear, which was a big incentive to run those.
That was just the Celestials, right? Before that, it was like boots.
No,
and belts.
No, it was Nalik before that, and
oh, really?
Shaw
He had
Fear.
tier pieces.
Yeah, they all did.
And Shaw of Anger did too.
Shaw had tier. Wow, I didn't even realize. Yeah. I did not get good drops, I guess.
I know plenty of people that got, one off the roll and one off the boss in the same fight.
The problem is like the gear for one. It's like it's really hard to find a group. I find like I could try to find them on my alts, and it's like, well, first of all, a lot of them I just get rejected on them because my item level's too low. But if I were to try to set up my own, which I actually did once, like I spent like over a half hour trying to get enough healers and stuff, and it didn't work out. There's just not enough people looking for this boss.
That's the big complaint. That I can't remember where I read this, but somebody who had a lot of alts was talking about it, and you couldn't do it with all undergeared people. You need people who are raid geared to carry the group, but the people who are raid geared don't need 645 items. I definitely haven't been there since the very first week. I don't know why I could ever go back to them.
In Mists of Pandaria, the majority of raiders had a reason to go to those bosses. Like at least for like the first few months. At least for the first few months they did. And in Mists of Pandaria, you could just go to the boss, and on reset day there would always be a group forming. Just you didn't have to worry about it. In most nights, there'd also be group forming, and now it's like your only option is the LFG tool. And like, I was in there like yesterday on the alts and like searching for Ruckmar groups. There was one group, and they wouldn't take me because my eye level on the alt is like 630.
Oh no.
Right, and that's who it should be for. What eye level does he drop?
Ruckmar 665.
Yeah, so why if you were above 630, it means you're raid geared.
Yeah.
And you can get 665 gear much easier through the raids.
It is like I've wiped on that boss so many times. Like people don't deal with the ads, and they're way harder than the Miss Pandaria bosses, but they give worse loot. So I think that's why no one does them. I don't think there's anything wrong with giving more casual players like a chance at tier pieces and stuff. Like
No, not at all. I didn't think there was anything wrong with the way they did the world bosses in Miss Pandaria, and I thought by the time they had gotten to Celestials, they had really eliminated some of the problems that had existed with these big groups going up and doing them and trying to compete with Horde and Alliance and so forth. That they had, I thought they were in a very good place, and I didn't see a need to change anything. So I was kind of surprised at what they did, and I think yeah,
I didn't really like the Celestials when they made it scalable, so anybody, even without heroic gear, what used to be called heroic, now mythic gear, could solo it pretty simply. I was like, this is too silly. There's, no challenge at all. I don't know. I didn't like the Celestial bosses. I mean, I liked getting easy PvP gear and easy tier gear. I'm not going to complain about free gear, but it takes away a lot of the pride in having the gear when it was so easy. But I liked, even if Thok, it took 4 raid groups who didn't know what they were doing to kill it, but it was fun. It was, it was epic. Yeah, I loved the Isle of Giants. That was a great zone. Nalik even, I liked Nalik too. He was fun. I liked the Shaw of Anger. I can't remember what was the other one in 6.0 or 5.0 called?
Galleon.
Yeah, Galleon. It was kind of interesting at first where you couldn't find him or he only spawned every 2 days.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of annoying, but...
Yeah, no, I thought that was a good change when they made it so he was kind of always respawning. Yeah. But that was plenty. They didn't have to do more than that.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad if the world bosses are too easy, because it's kind of... I don't know. It's like you have like a 15% chance once a week to get a piece, so it's not like it's like some dramatic advantage for the bosses being easy.
I think it should be easy for a 40-man group and almost impossible to solo.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But yeah, for 40 people going in, it should be a pushover. If you try to do it with a 20-person raid group, it should be really, really hard. And that's your incentive to getting a full raid group.
I'm guessing this is all just part of they're trying to incentivize getting people into normal raids, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe they went too far in some cases.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but the world bosses, yeah, they either need to figure something else out, because I don't think people are really paying much attention to them, and they're not. I'm certainly not running them because it's too much effort, as you say, to find a group and either put something together or find something that's already put together. It's just not worthwhile. Even if all you want to do is just go out there and see them and shoot something, it's just not worth the effort.
Yeah, the gold you get doesn't even cover your repair bills from trying to kill the boss.
That was definitely a problem with Undasta.
Yeah, that boss, I remember the first time killing it, just basically destroyed the server. Zerked it with like 100 people.
Good old Undasta. Is he tameable yet?
No.
Oh.
That should be. Cool. Maybe next expansion.
Yep, him and Thok. Well, they share the same model for the most part, don't they? They're pretty similar.
No, they're different.
Are they different?
Yeah, the skin at least is very different.
One's got like the Zandalari armor.
Yeah.
And Thok is like more iron.
Oh, that's right. He's all like chains and stuff like that. He's all like armored up and yeah. But I wish they would give us more hunter pets that look with those types of looks. I mean, they're just fun. Okay.
All right.
Are you recording or should I?
Yeah, I'm recording now.
Okay. Sorry. So you're going to have to cut this out or?
Yes, I will.
Or do you want to stop it and record again?
No, this is the perfect outro. Let's just roll.
Keep going.
Just leave this all in.
All right. Well,
For the horde.
Yes. In the interest of keeping the show to an hour or under, you have been listening to episode 214 of the Hunting Party podcast. I am Dark Brew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Delirium from thrillofthewild.com and at Delirium Hunts on Twitter.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak Wow on Twitter.
Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or add our RSS feed to your reader, and these links will be available in the show notes.
If you have a question or a topic you would like us to discuss on the show, email us at huntingpartypodcast@gmail.com or send us a tweet at huntingpartypod.
Stay thirsty, my friends, and remember to drink your dark brew lager.
Keep your eyes on the beast.
Always heed the thrill of the wild.
For the horde.
Life stealer, that's just the cost of being awesome sauce. I'm a dues payer, a boss slayer. I rock out with my lockout Viper to cheetah to dragon hawk. No time to waste, cause I can jump shot. BM, MM, and SV. I can rock out any tree. Never worried about my threat, cause I've got FD and misdirect. Catching loose mobs in my traps. I never miss, cause I am hip capped. Cause I'm the hunter, not the marked. I'm the fighter, not the spark. I'm the kiter, not the kite. I'll top the meters every fight. Raiding and cave, dealing death. Just me, my gun, and my trusty bed. Now let's begin with Illidan, Osirian, and Gil'jaden, Magdamar, Asgalor, Gruul, Cthulhu, and Razorgore, Onyxia to Ragnaros. Which one have we killed the most? Kel'Thuzad to Malagos. We even killed a Kama's ghost. Feels like we're getting close, all that running has a ghost. Anubarak, Yogg-Saron, Thorian, Sartharian, Megtheridon, Saphiron, Lucifer to Sulfuron.